Hi, welcome to Real Saints Real Talk. I'm your host, Benny Kyler. Should church musicians be paid? Right after this message.
To be a great dad is the most important job in a man's life, but it doesn't have to be hard. All it takes is a few minutes of your time, because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Well, I want to know, should church musicians be paid? For their talent and for their services? Well, I guess my personal opinion, me asking me personally, I feel that music is a ministry, and I think that's probably another way that you can probably tithe is, giving your time. And, time is money. However, I'm not knocking either issue. I know that sometimes the reasons why churches pay musicians because all the other churches are paying them. So if you're not able to pay, I guess where that musician is going to be. That musician is going to be at another church, especially when it comes to keyboard players. I know they're probably the most in demand in terms of church musicians, and they are really hard to find because they're just about on everybody's payroll. But when, again, when it comes to, I guess, paying, I guess my feeling is, for me, if you're at your home church, and I think it should be a part of a ministry or to be able to give something back to your church in terms of your time, your services, I think that's something that you could probably donate. On the other hand, it probably comes down to how much time a person is actually spending towards that ministry. If you're spending the time of an 8-hour job or a part-time job, then maybe there should be some compensation. So I think, or maybe the church should probably scale down what the requirement is, and then then it's probably be easier for a person to do without getting compensated. Then the other argument was not really the argument, but the other fact is that you have the professional musician. What I mean by professional musician, that's their art, that's their trade. That's their training. They went to school for it. They studied in college. That's how they earn their living. Music is how they eat. So should those people be paid? Well, absolutely. You would pay that person just like you would pay a doctor or a lawyer or anybody else. That's their profession. But where it's going to get tricky, how do you differentiate? Do you say, well, I'm going to pay this guy because he went to college, but I'm not going to pay this guy because he didn't go to college, but he played just as well and he's contributing the same amount of time and the same amount of effort, in the service. So, basically, that goes both ways. So then the other thing is, well, am I going to pay the music director or the minister of music, but should I pay the bass player? Should I pay the drummer? Should I pay the percussionist? Should I pay the guitar player? So I think it gets tricky if maybe you're paying one and you're not paying the rest of them. That gets tricky too. And the other thing that I would encourage churches, to plant those seeds. So if you got a budding musician, make room for those guys. Give them the opportunity to play, give them the opportunity to blossom, because that's going to be your future church. That's going to be your future musician. So then you won't run, you'll have, a musician or some musicians over there and they're playing in your band for 30, 40 years, and then and you're not really making the room for the young ones to come behind, and then you're going to find yourself without musicians. So you have to find a way to bud that musician, to plant that seed, and so that you will have something to fall back on too. And that's another way that you can address the music. Even vocalists, start a junior choir, start a kids praise team, and let those kids develop and let them learn, let them train in your ministry. That way you won't find yourself, on Craigslist, on Saturday trying to find somebody for Sunday morning. So those are some suggestions that I would make in that regard. But is it right to pay a musician that's playing for your service? Is it right to pay a church musician, or is it wrong? You tell me. Just food for thought. Holler back. Give me some inputs on Real Saints, Real Talk. Any bishops, any bishops or any pastors want to chime in, any church ministries want to chime in, let me know on your feeling that. We'd be interested in knowing what you're thinking. Again, like my position is, me personally, for my own church, no, I wouldn't take a dime to play for my my church. If I'm visiting another church and they want to give me a few dollars for playing, maybe I consider that. But the other thing too, though, you have to also consider too. You have musicians there and they have good gear. I mean, they paying a couple $1,000s for keyboards, and and they paying for the instrument. I mean. And even if you couldn't pay them, I think just a simple token of your appreciation every now and then, just to make them feel appreciated, would also be a good thing to do too. Because if not, you're going to find yourself on Craigslist or somewhere looking for that musician. I'm going to tell you, an average keyboard player is going to probably cost you $350, $400 a Sunday, and a really good one is going to cost you more than that. Bass player, guitar player is going to run you about $125 to $150. Drummer about the same thing. Percussionist probably $50 to $75. Guitar player probably about $100. You know what I mean? So if you got these guys, or girls, in your ministry, definitely show them some love. Definitely appreciate them. Let them know, hey, that they are appreciated. If not, I mean, you count that money up every Sunday. It costs you a lot of money to really staff that, budget-wise. So if you got those musicians, man, hold on to them, show them some love. I'm not saying either way. Maybe somebody can tell me. I mean, they can go either way, in terms of whether they should get paid or whether they're not. My position is, God's been good to me, and I'm gonna bless my church in that fashion. And I'm not knocking anybody that's getting paid. Some people, that's how they eat. I just want to know how you feel about it. All right? Take care.